Let's now talk some sports medicine and bring in our good friend, Dr. Joe Congeni with us at 1590 WAKR. Joe, good morning. What do you have for us, my friend?
Hey, Ray, I got two things I want to just touch on this morning. Unfortunately, we talked about Bradley Zimmer last week with a little bit of an unusual presentation of concussion, and of course this week he's on the shelf, and all the great things happening with the Tribe. It's hard to find anything not good, but this is one of them. Not having him available, it appears, for the rest of the season and especially the playoffs is a big concern. And with hand injuries, Ray, there's a lot of small bones in a small space without a lot of protection. So inside pitches that hit the hand or dive and have somebody step on the hand, like Bradley Zimmer, can result in a bad fracture. And sometimes they're mild fractures where people are playing within a week or two, and sometimes it's a bad enough fracture. He had surgery. He had a plate and some screws inserted yesterday. So he is going to miss a significant amount of time and probably the end of the year, although I heard in Tito's discussion he's still holding out some hope because he said that last year Jan Gomes had a similar injury and came back a lot sooner than they thought. But there's the controversy of, head first slide into first base and all that kind of stuff. I happened to be at the game Sunday night for the 18th win. Luckily, the sports medicine person sitting 2 down from me, he said, he just got the wind knocked out of him. I wish he was correct. But then again, I was thinking it was either the shoulder or the head I was worried about, and he got his hand stepped on. So, the great thing is nobody looks over the shoulder of the surgeon who did the surgery yesterday, and a lot of people don't second-guess our manager. Tito's great. I mean, he said, I'm not telling him to don't head first slide into first base. His aggressiveness is what got him here. That's why we love the kid. As a manager, he's always pumping up his guys. But unfortunately, these kinds of injuries occur, and it looks like that's the only kind of thing that could derail this team heading into October. So I guess we have to hold our breath for the rest of September and hope that we don't fall prey to other injuries. But hand and wrist are really injuries that can occur with inside pitches and stuff. Those small bones are really susceptible to bad fractures.
Yeah, and when you get those fractures sometimes on the head first slides and in the hand area, there's a fracture called a spiral fracture, which really can be devastating for these guys. It's not a simple break. Basically, Joe, I'll let you expand. That bone kind of twists and turns, right?
It does. And really what we're talking about, to try to even simplify it more, is there's some fractures that are totally stable, and we know the way they look on X-ray, they're going to heal well if we just cast them and leave them alone, and sometimes splint them even, not for a long period of time. And others, like certain spiral fractures or compound fractures, that are not going to heal if we just leave them alone, that need surgery. And this was one that was going to need surgery. It was unstable, we call it, versus stable, which heals without us doing anything. That's the big difference. And when you have an unstable fracture, we're talking 6 to 8 weeks. So we hope the timetable gets turned up, but it probably is not going to, and we won't see this electric kid probably until next year. But, Ray, the one other thing I wanted to touch on, and you're so good to me, you allow me these opportunities for a sports medicine rant, is we are asked all the time, hey, get together and help us solve this concussion problem in the sports medicine world. Would you guys make some suggestions? So we look a lot of things, and we talk about rules changes, and there's rules changes that have been made 5 to 10 years ago about eliminating the head-to-head hit, the targeting, that type of thing. And the fact of the matter is, if there's no teeth to the rule, if it's just a 15-yard penalty, as we saw very much on the day Sunday, that's not enough of a deterrent. People are going to continue with the types of hits that we saw, like what they call the ear hole hit on the receiver for the Browns on the sidelines. We have to, people have to be ejected from the game. Those hits will be eliminated. People will not take the risk of getting ejected from the game. But those kinds of things, a 15-yard penalty, or even more so, a fine during the week, is not a deterrent for those. So they tell us, sit around and come up with ideas to, rules changes to protect people. And then when you make those, you tell them what rules changes need to be made. If you don't put enough teeth in in the rules, they're not going to be effective. And it's just frustrating to watch that because of the fact that we know what's a dangerous hit, and that was a dangerous hit on the sideline, and that should have been somebody who was ejected from the game.
No doubt about it, Joe. Good call on that. Good talking with you again, my friend. Catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Ray. Have a great week.
You too. Dr. Joe Congeni, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital.